Well, can you believe it? It's already the 1st of February, 2023. My name is Don Taylor, and I'm coming to you with a new type of prototype for a geodesic dome, something that's scalable, say from 40 foot to 60 foot to 80 foot, and maybe even to 120 foot. And I've been well aware of domes probably for about 20 years, 25, 30 years. And, I've kind of researched the ones that the Pacific domes made. You basically you have a skeleton structure with a cover, or you have a solid panels that are prefabricated in place. Basically, the two systems. I would like to come up with a combination of the two, where you develop the geodesic framework using a 3D printer. Uh, where you can actually make up a master mold and to make your your framework. So I'm basically reaching out to you out there that have knowledge in geodesic domes, right? And so the reason for this is that these domes that I would like to build, they will be a solid, uh, like your frame, your geodesic framework. You could use it. You can make your hub connector. You can make that. You can build out from it. Maybe use your hub connector as a termination point for a window or for a portal. Different things. There's different things that can be done with this, where you could change out your hub connector. You could design it to where you can add on a rebar over top of the dome for growing food. Growing food is going to become the number one thing. The times you're coming into, we're going to have to deal with climate chaos. We're going to have to deal with fires. We're going to have to deal with extreme winds, extreme everything, right? And to come up with a geodesic dome that could be a frame locked together, where you could actually put the framework together, and to where you could actually design the cover for it, or you could, like when you're putting your panel system together, your 5-way or six-way panel connections together, to where you can make a framework where the panels slide into the slide into the geodesic framework, right? And so you would have basically a hub connector in the center, and you would have, if you go 6-way around, you would have 6 triangles. So that'd be 6 plus your end connectors, 12. So you would have 6 solid panels and and 12 pieces that makes up your geodesic framework. And I don't see why this can't be done. This could be all plotted into a 3D printer to make. And so this is where I'm kind of going with it. So if you had to make a panel that was like a triangle, even a triangle part that was 8 feet from point to the base, that would produce a hexagon or a pentagon that would be 14 foot over 12 foot at the base. So you'd be able to go to a fairly large event structure. Okay. And I've been looking for it. I haven't come across anybody that's actually thought to introduce this kind of system. But it would take a 3D printer. It would take someone with engineering skills to be able to print out the masters for it. Once you got the masters, the actual finished product, from that you can take a casting to to make your inverse molds. So from your inverse molds, you could turn out uh, if you got an inverse mold, just like making a bolt, you make a mold for the bolt, you spray it out, and you spray on your fiberglass you put on your chop and all that. You put on your slip first, and you leave it cure, and you got a framework for a boat. So applying the same principle to making the geodesic framework and the panels. The reason for this is to be able to mass produce the inverse molds using the 3D printers, right? And once you got your master mold, you can make many secondary molds for taking off your positive prints. And there's going to be need for uh, many thousands of dome structures. So once you got your components on site, they're going to ship easy enough, right, on a transport. So once you got it on site, you got your schematics for your footprint. So you do up your footprint, where the dome is going to sit on. You can make it ground level, or you could raise it up so it's elevated off the ground, right? That'd be the first thing to do. And then you set up your geodesic structure. You can incorporate windows where they're needed, and so you're going to have a solid panel interlocking geodesic dome that's click locked together. You had fasten it. You had come up with some kind of a speed system to where you could click lock them together very quickly instead of using bolts and things like that. And there's no reason why this can't be done. Something that's cost effective that can be mass produced by the tens of thousands. If you got one master mold, you got your triangles, right? From one triangle mold, you can produce, say, 1,000 prints from that, And as long as you got your molds, you can mass produce all the components in a geodesic dome relatively quickly. So it's going to take someone with the skill set and the know-how to be able to engineer something like this. But the object is be able to set up in environmental covers. We're talking about domes that's going to be able to withstand the coming climate chaos, because things are, the core of the Earth has stopped spinning already. It's going into reverse. Things are going to get catastrophic. And so with, I'm just looking for something. So what I would like to do is be able to use these geodesic domes as a event shell, as a cover, to put in a staging system within the dome that could be 2 or 3 stories tall. That's using the relocation platform technology, which is interlocking hexagonal panels that are 8 feet point to point, or 48 square foot. These need to be engineered too, printed off, foam injected, vacuum formed, or something, right? Where they could be done cheap enough, maybe organic plastic or hemp plastic or something, right? And so this is the staging for your interior floors. And so you would have a little, if you got a platform assembly that's 48 feet across, you could put that within you could put a 60-foot geodesic dome over top. And you got your light coming in. You got your venting. You got your windows on the top, which would be really nice because that would bring in light on the third level of the floor system. That would be like an atrium, right? You have light coming in, so you'd have to form your portals. So this is a whole engineering feat, challenge yet to be taken up by somebody. And if you get enough minds coming together, this could. I don't see why it can't be done within 5 or 6 weeks, where the masters could be perfected. And so you're going to have a semi-load full of parts. Uh, you can do your pre-assembly on your components, on your hexagonal and your pentagon components, and you could. It's easy to jury rig some kind of a system from the center to where you can snap all this together. You don't have to use any conventional forms of fastening. It just takes a little bit of pre-thought, right? A little bit of imagination. Holy Spirit engineered, be like a Holy Spirit engineered system. It'd be the best of the best to turn out this third way of making a portable geodesic dome system that is where the pieces are fabricated and can be put together on site. So once you have it together on site, you basically got a monodome. You got something that's solid. It's going to stand alone. So from that, you could actually put on a slip concrete. You could have a fabricated, pre-engineered rebar, where the rebar could be welded in place. So you would have a welded shell. This is part of your. You can actually use this to incorporate an earth battery using the metal, right? But you're looking to use what's available, and so this would really put a demand on rebar, to get this stuff going, because we're going to have a short window of time to prepare things for what's coming down the pike. And so you could actually put your steel reinforcement over top of the dome. You could if you can use that as a print, you'd have to figure out how you're going to do your windows. You got your print, but you might have to engineer the shell to where you would cast the cement over the window openings, and that could be all pre-engineered. You kind of see where I'm coming from, right? So when you spray on your concrete and put up your steel, you're allowing for your windows, right? You're allowing for your windows. It's going to be a little tricky, but I don't see why it can't be done. So you do your slip, your cement slip. You blow your concrete on. You add on your steel. You add on more shotcrete, and you put on a high density layer on top of that. So you probably have a 2-inch to 2.5-inch cement shell, a ferrous shell. A foamcrete could work. That'd be another option, right? Where you could actually build your walls 8 inches thick. You could, put on your. That might be another option. And so after it's all done, after the shell is cured, then you remove the inner geodesic dome. That's just the framework in which to fabricate the Ferrous dome. So you would have a geodesic dome made out of cement and steel with the portals built into it. So you're going to have something that's solid. It's permanent. It's not going anywhere. It's not going to fall apart. It's not going to collapse in on you. And so you take take apart your inner framework, geodesic framework, and you go to the next spot and set up. And so now you have a community center. You have a hub center for about 40 people. Your main floor would be where people can come. They can sit down, have something to eat. You got your cooking facilities there, like your kitchen, washroom facilities, just like going into a restaurant. But this is the main gathering point for 6 other satellite domes that are around. Maybe you don't have satellite domes. You might have RVs, you might have trailers, but you need that main gathering point. Needs to be a geodesic cover, right? Where people can come to and stretch their legs and relax and not be pressured by the elements. And so this concept would be used to build the Ark ship prototype, which is composed of uh, a binary system, a binary hexagonal system, what I call the macro camps. The macro camps would make up the binary system, and you'd have another one in the center, which is your main spiritual gathering point. To have community, so these arc ships need to be designed for community for the end times that we're coming into, right? And so each macro camp, so if you have a say a 12-acre macro camp, that's your micro camps. That each macro camp is composed of 6 micro camps that are 1/16th scale, 1/16th of the whole. So this is where you'd have a 30,000 square foot, a third of an acre, 2/3 of an acre. That would be your gathering point, living facilities for about 7 families. So those 7 families can gather together, come together for common meals, for prayer, for fellowship, where you can set the table, you put your plates out, you pray over it, and God manifests the food, right? And so you got your 6 camps around that, your micro camps, and then in the center, you got a main gathering point where all 6 camps can come together, maybe for a couple times a week. It's open 24/7 for if you want to go there for prayer or worship or whatever. It's open. Or if you got a group of people, say if you got 50 people show up, you got a place where you can set them up. You see what I'm saying? But you need a spiritual gathering point. You need your common area, common living area, where people can come together, like a community center. But you also need a spiritual gathering point in the geometric core of the macro camp design, the 12-acre design, or whatever size that's going to be. So that makes up one end of the arc ship of the binary design, and then you would have another gathering point in there, probably with several hundred people. So within a 12-acre arc ship, you would have accommodation for about 500 to about 700 people, 750 people, or something like that. Then around your I would have to show you it. I'm just kind of getting out the logistics on it. But and so in the center of your spiritual camp, you might have a 120-foot event dome designed the same way, or you might just order a 120-foot Pacific dome that has the that's translucent. That would work too. That would work too. It's just that they're going to have to mass produce on a big scale, or that these camps may have to be turned into manufactured facilities in order to meet the demand. Because we're talking these camps would have to go up outside of every major city in the United States, where you're far enough away that you're far enough away from all the violence and stress that's going to take the cities down. A lot of people moving into the country, but we need to network together to come together in the spirit of the Lord to build places outside of the chaos. And right, and as we learn to come together in the unity of the Spirit, as we learn to enter into the rest of God, that there will be a spiritual dome of protection over these camps. David Terrell, God's prophet to the world, he's seen this back in the 1960s. The Lord showed him back then large areas of land that would be, say, 40 by 70 miles, that would have a protective covering over the top. And the Lord calls them blessed areas, right? And so back in 1988 when I first heard about it, when I was sending under David Terrell's ministry, I was inspired by the blessed areas. And back then I began to engineer the isometric geometric layout of how to build a camp that would be, 3, 4, 5 sections of land. It can be done. And it can be done very, very quickly, right? Where you could have a camp, David Terrell, he saw camps of 50s, he saw camps of hundreds, and he also saw camps where there were thousands of end time believers protected in a protected area. We're talking Psalms 91. So that's what I'm looking to. So this is just an outreach video to you out there who are involved in geodesic domes. I'd like to put a word out for Paul Robinson up in the UK. I think it's the UK or someplace out there. I would sure like to get your feedback on this. Is it possible to design a scalable inner, geodesic dome system where you can actually make the triangle components? You can make the nosing for it, like the connector piece for it, to where they all slide lock together to make your formwork, and where that could be used independently, or where that could be used as a mold to set up to build like a Ferrous shell. Going to leave it here. Thank you all for coming, and please get back to me on this. I'm just curious, but I've been researching the internet, and I have not come across any kind of design that fits the bill of what I'm trying to portray. Going to leave it here. This is Don Taylor coming to you from my little place here in Boston Bar, British Columbia, on this first day of February 2023. I would advise you to listen to the Prophecy Club, the most recent Prophecy Club that came out today or yesterday, about the 24-page headlines. Things are really going to begin to escalate, and the Titanic's going down, and if we don't get into the lifeboats, we're going to go down with the Titanic. Going to leave it here. God bless you all.